What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time. I'm going to take you up to lock, going to take you through lock. We're on a little late here. Thank you for hanging with us. It is a small slate, but we've got one expert for every game here. We got 3 games. We got 2.5 smart people. I'm the half. Don't worry, you guys are in the full of that. We got my guy Chief in the house. What up, Chief?
Nothing much, man. I think this is a perfect day to invite people into my home since we have such a small slate. And I can show people one of my favorite snacks and one of my favorite flavors of snacks that the Chief keeps on his desk.
Do tell.
While he's doing content. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. I think you can.
Oh, the Airheads.
Orange
Airheads.
Airhead is a flavor of choice of mine in that variety when I need a little candy snack at the desk. So
I didn't know anyone still ate those after grade school. So I'm I'm impressed that you're still with the Airheads, man.
Listen, and the thing is, I can get them at the school. So my son plays basketball, so I just kind of load up. They give me like 4 for $1. I'm supporting the school. I'm supporting my snack desk here. So you know what I mean. It all works out.
Rip that bad boy open here. We've got quite the slate. Honestly, you guys were just complaining about it all throughout the pregame. I didn't hear a single good thing about this slate, but that's kind of fun because it means maybe you don't have to hit on every single play because not everybody else is either. Maybe some lower scores take down some tournaments today. We got Keith Eister in the house as well. What up, Ice? Ice, your camera's blurry. Can you do this? Can you put your hand in front of it and then bring your hand to your face and see if it focuses it? Yeah, that worked. There we go.
Beautiful.
What's up, Ice?
Not much. Yeah, bit of an ugly slate today. Only 3 games, and there's like 0 value out there. There's plenty of stars to pay for if you can get there, but it's really difficult. So, bit of an ugly one. The question that people want to know the answer to is: did you survive today with the kids at home?
It was so brutal. I may or may not have had a couple mental breakdowns. The kids, thank God, my wife took them to grandma's. So I had like a nice hour leading up to this show. I'm feeling better. Thank you for checking in on me. I am here, but it was pretty touch and go there for a minute. I almost just bailed. Guys, I'm jealous. We got Chief with the Prize Picks hat, Ice repping the fresh scores and odds snapback. So I thought I got to join the crew here.
Oh my goodness!
Here's the thing: hats don't fit me. Look, see it pushes my ears down. What's up with that? Am I supposed to tuck them in? I don't wear hats.
Roth, that's what I do. They don't fit me well either.
You tuck them. I do the tuck.
I have to tuck mine in so I continue to look cool.
All right. Yeah. I don't know if that looks cool. I don't know if that's the word I would do. But hey, guys, I'm pumped to break down the slate. I got nothing better to do than run some DFS lineups, even on a bad slate. So let's go ahead and dive into things. Talk about, I think you said that there's no injury news that's happened. There's nothing we're waiting for. There's basically nothing. Ice, are you my cash guy today?
Yeah, I'll be doing the cash.
Okay, well, just perfectly timely comment here. Michael says, hey, I'm sure you'll cover this organically, but I just walked in. Which injury information are we waiting on? And I feel like there's not a whole lot.
There is not a whole lot. Ivica Zubac being ruled out. He was a late scratch in their last game. He is out again tonight, so that is the main source of value. Daniel Tice stepped right into his role. Mason Plumlee kind of stepped into the Daniel Tice role. So that's one decent value play. It gets really, really thin after that. The only questionable tag that we have out there is Keegan Murray, and even him getting ruled out would not open up a ton of things. Probably just means more minutes for guys like Malik Monk. Maybe Kevin Huerter gets a little bit more. Trey Lyles is probably the biggest beneficiary in that situation who could be a decent value. He's already popping in a couple of things. Maybe you see a guy like Vazenkov. We're going to talk about it with Chief in tournaments for sure, but you can pretty much do whatever you want on this slate because none of the value plays are comfortable. We're going to talk about some ugly names even in the cash conversation. And I don't know where Roth disappeared to.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I'll do hosting until Roth gets back in it. I think he's back.
I think I'm back. I don't know. Randomly, my good camera went out, so now you get the crappy. I was trying to look good in my cap here, and I messed up my camera. But okay, well that's fair. I think we can just dive into a build. We like starting with Fanduel because this show sponsored by Fanduel. That's why it's free. That's why instead of paying, we ask you to hit us with a little thumbs up. There's a little button. It's like right down there on the YouTube. Hit us with the thumbs up because we're giving some of the best free content in the biz. Ice, you want to walk me through a build?
Yeah, we'll start over here on FanDuel. Noto has 2 core tags, one being Kawhi Leonard and one being Daniel Tice. Both Clippers. Tice is getting a nice minutes bump, stepping into the starting lineup for Zubac. Kawhi's been playing awesome. It's a good pace-up matchup against Oklahoma City. They've been one of the faster teams in the NBA. They're really good on the defensive end as well, but the pace of the game should be a nice little boost. So we're going to see plenty of Clippers popping, but those are the 2 core tags here. We'll go ahead and jump in position by position, starting with the point guard position. Patrick Beverley is popping as one of those value plays. You have Daniel House ruled out for the 76ers. So Beverley's minutes should be pretty secure here. And like a lot of these value plays that we're talking about, they're not going to be comfortable. Names that we wouldn't play on a much bigger slate, but Beverley going to be out there for like 25 minutes. He's been pretty solid as a role player for the Sixers here. You definitely want to spend up at the other spot. Bradley Beal is jumping into some lineups. James Harden is definitely in some lineups. Or De'Aaron Fox if you have a little extra money. I think Harden would be my favorite choice of those guys. At the shooting guard position, you can play Harden at shooting guard as well. So probably Beal and Harden, your spend ups at the guard positions, and then saving money at that second shooting guard position. You're looking at a guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a guy who plays a ton of minutes for Denver. Doesn't do a ton while he's out there, but like I said, value's uncomfortable today. We have to save somewhere so we can get a couple of these studs into our lineup. KCP will be on the floor. If you have the money for a mid-range type, Oubre should have secure minutes. Melton is still out for the Sixers. That's really the only names I'm considering here. Moving on to small forward. Here's where I think you're spending up. Kawhi has the core tag. He's definitely somebody you want to get in there. And then you are looking at a Kevin Durant or Paul George. You can probably play 2 of those 3, and then George and Kawhi have power forward eligibility as well. So slide one of those guys to the power forward position. But George, Kawhi, and Durant are probably your primary spend-ups on the slate. I mentioned Grayson Allen as a way to save some money here. Trey Lyles is a name to keep an eye on. He's definitely viable right now. If Keegan Murray were to get ruled out, that should bump up Trey Lyles' minutes just a little bit. Not a huge per minute guy, but again, we're searching the bottom of the barrel for value here. Lyles without Murray would definitely be one of the better value plays on the slate. If you have a little extra money and Murray is in, Nico Batum is fine as well. Another guy who should be out there for upper 20s minutes. Another low per minute guy, but it's scarce out there today. Okay. And then the center position, it's Tice as the core tag. I think that's the only option that you're considering in cash. Would love to get up to a guy like Sabonis, but it's just not happening on this slate.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's kick it to tournaments. Chief, I don't know if this is more of a game theory type slate with only 3 games, and you're just like, I'm going to stack up each and every one of them, or I'm stacking up one game. What's your plan of attack here?
Well, I think for me, and I feel this way, if you've got our tools, you've been around, even if you haven't been around, like I feel like the obvious plays are the obvious plays tonight. What I'm going to try to do is cover the not so obvious plays and a couple pivots because all the value is uncomfortable. So for me tonight, Patrick Beverley seems to be at point guard, kind of the chalk value. And I think me and Keith were discussing that. Like, I mean, I'm hitting the optimizer and in lineup HQ, and he's in everything. Like, it's jamming him in. So for me, what I'm doing is I'm pivoting to a guy like Reggie Jackson. Same type of role, but I think Jackson has a little bit more upside than Beverley if he gets out there. Now, look, once again, the projection on Beverley is about a point better. You're paying $1,000 more for a less projection. But what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, we're getting Patrick Beverley around 35%. We're getting Reggie Jackson around 3%. And Reggie Jackson can easily go out here and score 28. Easily is a strong word. Let me dial that back. It's possible. Sure. He could go out and score 28. And Patrick Beverley is with 20. And now Reggie Jackson if Reggie Jackson scores 28 fantasy points on FanDuel tonight, I'm almost positive he's going to be optimal. Don't you think? Unless Patrick Beverly just blows through his projection, I'm going to assume Reggie Jackson's close to optimal with 28 fantasy points, at least based on how the construction is going. So he's a guy that's somewhat off the beaten path that I want to get to. Another guy, somewhat off the beaten path. We've got KCP at $4,700 on FanDuel. He's getting a 45% ownership projection. Case in point, we've got Norman Powell at $5,500. He's got a 13.75% projection. You probably will have to sacrifice one of your studs and maybe pay up in the mid-range a little bit to kind of do some of these things. But I just think with such a small slate and the value being, dare we say, crappy, Keith, crappy value today, I'm willing to take a guy like Norman Powell, who, if he's hot, could score 20 fantasy points in a quarter just based on scoring alone. So once again, I'm not trying to convince you to not play KCP. I'm just convincing you, hey, maybe build some alternative lineups with these other guys that have some upside but aren't going to project as well. That's at shooting guard. At small forward, this is where it gets a little bit interesting for me because I can't play Norman Powell there. But what I think I'm going to do, I might actually, when I say might, I might sacrifice a little bit of upside for the value here. So like when I look at a guy like Grayson Allen, who's going to get 40%, we've got him with the projection of 22 fantasy points as an example. Definitely a better play. He's definitely a better play than Harrison Barnes. But I got to make up my salary somewhere. Harrison Barnes is a guy at 23% that goes in the build for me tonight, just as a guy that could possibly get there. I'm also not afraid to roll out Kenrich Williams tonight. You hear these names we're talking about, people, it's ugly, but we're just using this as a way to get a little bit different. Kenrich Williams gets to 17 fantasy points somehow at 3,700. We might be getting close to knocking on the door of a tournament win. At power forward, I'm probably going to get less creative here. I feel like Trey Lyles, Nicholas Batum, I can still play Harrison Barnes. We do have Squirrel. Might want to check this out, folks. The Squirrel definitely hits on some of these weird plays. Chimezie Metu, a guy he's probably just going to throw in. I don't want to say throw in, but plug in to possibly be a little bit different because all these value plays could end up being within the same range. And Keith, if one, and Raw, 2 more points from Metu or 2 more points from Harrison Barnes, 3 points here could be the difference between first and like 1/20th with how tight I think it's going to be tonight with these value plays. So just wanted to point that out. Then, of course, at center, you've got Daniel Tice there. I do think playing a little bit of Mason Plumlee isn't a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea to just kind of flop some of that because we're getting 50% on Tice and 9% on Plumlee. I don't think they're that much of a difference, a 40% difference for 2 guys that could play almost the same amount of time. We've seen Mason Plumlee pop before in the past, so I think we should be getting to some Plumlee as well.
Okay, very good. Let's kick it over to DK. Ice, I'll bring you back. Just going through my build here, man. Like I'm doing a Jokic and Embiid kind of double game stack, and I kind of like what I've got with it. Like that's going to get me unique, right?
Yeah, you're definitely going to be unique with both of those guys. I think you're unique just playing one of them today. I think most people are living in like the second tier of the studs range, like the Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden. Like everybody's living in that range rather than going up to the Jokic and the Embiid tier. So you're definitely different with that type of build.
I somehow have those 2 dudes. I like the pieces I have, and I have like $800 left to spend, and I'm not even going to spend it. Like I don't know how I landed here, but I love my build. Walk me through kind of what the more chalky build is, or what you think the cash build is here.
Okay, yep, we can definitely do that. We'll start with the core tags. It's the same 2 as we had over on FanDuel. It's Kawhi Leonard, who's been playing incredible for the Clippers, and Daniel Tice stepping into the starting lineup for Zubac. At the point guard position, Reggie Jackson is one of the main differences here. He's only 3,900. Chief talked about him as a tournament play on FanDuel. He's definitely in your cash lineup here on DraftKings at just 3,900. Great way to save some money. James Harden, another guy in the mid range who looks really strong. If you got a little extra money, rather than going down, Russell Westbrook in the mid range at 5,900, I think is cash viable as well. At the shooting guard position, Eric Gordon at 4,200 is definitely in play. KCP we talked about over on FanDuel. As far as a minute standpoint, he's definitely safe. Should play at least 30 minutes tonight for Caldwell Pope. Paul George, one of the better spend ups here at the position. Moving on to some small forwards here. You can play George at small forward. I definitely prefer Kawhi if choosing between PG and Kawhi. I think it's totally fine to play them both in your cash lineup as well. Just 3 games. Mention the pace up spot they have against the Thunder here. Norm Powell, a name in the mid range if you're looking to go that route. A lot of those guys eligible at power forward as well. Kawhi, Kevin Durant is certainly a viable spend up. If you don't want to go with 3 Clippers, you could certainly get Kevin Durant in there. Metu, who Chief talked about over on FanDuel, 3,600 here on DraftKings. He's cash viable at that price tag. No bowl, so minutes should be safe for him. He's a guy who we've seen with a decent per minute production as well. In the mid range, I'd be looking at somebody like Aaron Gordon. At the center position, Daniel Tice is definitely the lock. He's the core tag. We're seeing DeAndre Jordan pop into some optimal lineups here. It's because he's only 3,300 and we haven't projected for 14 minutes. I would try to avoid that in cash personally, just because they have went back and forth between him and Zeke Naji as the guy who backs up Jokic. Like neither one is going to play a ton of minutes, but if Jordan doesn't get the 14 minutes he's projected for, and for some reason they decide they want to go back to Naji, it'd be really tough for Jordan to get there in like 6 minutes or something like that. I think there's downside for him to be pulled out of the rotation. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but there's definitely risk. I would much rather find the $400 to get to Mason Plumlee. Feel pretty confident that he's going to be out there for at least 14 to 16 minutes. With Zubac out, they just don't really have any other bigs. Tice is certainly probably starts again, but Plumlee's going to have a role off the bench, and he's a good per minute guy. So would definitely rather get up to Plumlee over DeAndre Jordan. Another guy you could consider is Peyton Watson, who is 3,500, and I feel better about his minutes than I do about DeAndre Jordan's as well.
Okay, very good. Let's kick it to Chief, get some tournament thoughts over on DK. And if you could kind of walk me through position by position, if you have the time, I'd love that.
Yeah, for sure. So at point guard, once again, one of the main differences, we're kind of flip-flopping here where Patrick Beverly is the value of FanDuel. We're getting Reggie Jackson as the value of DK. So he's picking up more ownership. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go to Patrick Beverly on DK.
Ooh,
I know that
sneaky.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's just about trying to get different enough against the field tonight, because we're all going to be playing Harden. We're all going to be playing Paul George. We're all going to be playing Kawhi. We're all going to be playing KD. How much Devin Booker is the field going to get to? He's at 21% on DK. I like him a lot on DK at 9,100, where the ownership is pretty reasonable. Then we've got De'Aaron Fox on the other side as a spend up. We've got him projected around 13% ish. So I like that as well. Still don't hate Harrison Barnes. Of course, don't hate Trey Lyles. Chimezie Metu picking up way more ownership. Oh, my bad. You said you want to go position by position. Sorry about that, Rob.
You're good. You do what you want, man. You're good.
Yeah. Let me get back on track. But James Harden, 8,100, definitely a guy that I think could pop here. We've seen him have some nice games when he really gets rolling in all the categories. So I like him a ton. At the shooting guard position, KCP, we're probably going to have to play him. And that's just it is what it is. We've got these same shooting guards. I do think Malik Monk is viable in tournaments, but if we're playing him at 6,500, then we're probably not spending all the way up at every position. That means we're probably cutting back somewhere. So we might be playing, Aaron Gordon or a Michael Porter Jr. instead of maybe getting to a Devin Booker or something like that, or Kevin Durant. Maybe we're cutting one of those guys out. But I do think Malik Monk is viable. He's flashed a lot of upside here. Also at shooting guard on the other side, if we can get him at point guard or shooting guard, I do think Bradley Beal at 7,400 is viable. I think he makes, if we're playing Beal, if we're playing Malik Monk, to me, what we're doing is now we're going almost all mid-range, Roth. Like we're not quite going up to 2 or 3 8K guys, we're probably sitting in 6, 7K, maybe getting one value guy, and then maybe one of the 8 to 9K guys. I don't think we're playing 3 of them, which I feel like is kind of going to be our theme. 2 or 3 is the theme. But I do like Bradley Beal tonight. I think he's got enough upside to get there if things broke our way. Also at shooting guard. In terms of value, we got Terrence Mann. I don't like Terrence Mann. I think it's terrible, but this is the world we're in right now where he is 4,100. Still going to be playing Norman Powell at shooting guard as well. And then, of course, we don't have excuse me. We've got Lou Dort moving to small forward. We've got Lou Dort at 5,400. Don't hate him on DK. Don't hate him on FanDuel either. But I think he's the guy you can include. Of course, at small forward, we've got Paul George. That's the obvious play. We've got Grayson Allen, shooting guard or small forward eligible. I feel like we're getting to Grayson if we're sitting in that 6 to 7K range mostly. I think that's where Grayson comes into play. We've got, once again, Harrison Barnes. And then we've got, if you want to, this was a little frosty for me, but I do think Marcus Morris still has a role. It's just, does he hit today? He's 4,300. That was probably a little bit more fringe, but this is tournaments. So I like him. We're going power forward. We talked about Aaron Gordon. I don't hate Keegan Murphy plays. Obviously, Trey Lyles. You've got, back with Chemezi Metsu at 3,600, a lot better value here. And then if we're going to sit down in that mid-range, tough spot for them, but Jalen Williams at 7,300 is the guy that's shown he can get you 40 to 50 fantasy points. And then at center, I like Tice, but I still want to settle in with Mason Plumlee. Their ownership is a lot closer on DK than it is on FanDuel because the pricing is about the same. But I still think splitting those guys fairly evenly isn't a bad strategy. So like Mason Plumlee. And then I think for tournaments, Rob, I really think you're on the right path if you found a way to make it work. Playing Jokic or Embiid is, way against the field today in general, especially if you're taking Jokic. We've got him projected from me sub 10% ownership today. So I don't hate that call, and even Embiid's at 24%. So if you can squeeze them in and make it work, I think that's a great tournament strategy.
Good, because I'm doing it, and I feel like I'm winning the tournament tonight. I feel better about my lineup tonight than I have all season long. We got some questions coming in the RG Discord and, of course, in the YouTube chat. As I mentioned, make sure you hit us with a little thumbs up. By the way, this show sponsored by FanDuel. If you bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. If you are in the great state of Vermont, you get access to the FanDuel Sportsbook as well now. You get a brand new special offer. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets on any market. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's open it up to some of these QQs. And as per usual, I will start in the Discord. Bill T says, is it possible to win without input from Dean? It's easier. Isn't it easier? I think it's easier to win without Dean's mush.
You don't have to worry about the mush. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was on Porzingis last night, and as soon as Dean in our transition called Porzingis, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, the famous Dean mush. Yeah. FanDuel GPP question here. Chief, can we have a feel it in your plums scrub of the day? Actually, this is from both of you. A feel it in your plums scrub of the day in a FanDuel GPP.
I think my scrub of the day is Plumlee. I just think plums is my feel it in your plums play.
What do you know? Let's see, Ice, you got a feel it in your plums play here? Is it the plum dog as well?
I like the Plumlee call quite a bit. I will give another one just for the sake of being different, but I think he is the cheap guy with the most upside outside of Daniel Tice today. I will go Peyton Watson, just has a bit of a spike game as a really low-owned value play.
Nice. FanDuel GPP, Chief, the first 3 people you're putting in a FanDuel GPP.
For me, give me Harden. Give me Reggie Jackson. Give me Plumlee. As crazy as that sounds.
Okay. Let's see. DK Cash question. Ice, Aaron Gordon or Keegan Murray, assuming he's going to play?
Okay, let's see here. That would be Murray slightly for me. I don't think you're gonna know the answer to that though. Like you're not gonna have the Keegan Murray information before you need to put Gordon in there. So in cash, I think you have to go Gordon at this point.
Was it FanDuel, by the way? Was that a FanDuel question? Or was
DK,
it? Was
I think.
It was DK.
Well, I mean, can I give a little perspective on the Keith?
Yeah,
I mean,
please.
If you want to play Murray, I mean, you can plug him in, and then if he's out, you can just pivot to Gordon because Gordon's 200 cheaper. Like you can't get away with it tonight if like you absolutely just.
But Gordon locks at 7:30, and Keegan Murray doesn't lock till 9. So you probably aren't going to have the news.
Never mind. Hey, this is why Keith is doing cash. Forget about me here.
We got the doubling down. Dean is doubling down on his mushing powers, feeling Russell Westbrook in his plums tonight. You guys are not on Russ.
Nope.
No.
No, Keith is. Keith is mentioning him on DraftKings at 59.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. Like, he did play 29 minutes without Zubac. So, I mean, there is minutes upside. Like, his minutes had been cut way back, but without Zubac in the last game, he did play 29 minutes. So, I hate to say it, Dean's onto something there.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that call. I didn't realize that. That's Dean. We like it. Good stuff. I'm sorry. I'm sorry what I said about your mushing.
Little bit of revenge if you guys are into that. That's not my jam, but facing his old team.
Yeah. Kevin says, any concerns with OKC resting guys? Is OKC resting guys?
They're on a back-to-back would be, but I mean, nobody's on the injury report. They kind of past the time when they would need to alert the league to that.
Gotcha.
And I think he's probably more concerned about SGA and that knee injury, but he's playing, so I just have to let it ride.
Okay. Larry says, what do you think about PBev? I feel like you're both like, it's fine.
Yeah, necessary value.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody playing SGA in a DK GPP? Chief?
I'm not, but I don't hate it. I'm not playing him because I think the Clippers defensively have been really good recently. It's less about SGA and more about the Clippers defense, but I don't hate it.
Eric Johnson says Embiid under 50.5 points, rebounds, assists. That does seem like a lot. That would be, he could go 30, 10, and 10 and still fall short like that. I don't know. Embiid under 50.5?
I would say yes in this situation. I know Embiid has dominated Jokic, but Denver's still not the fastest team in the league. I'm on a side with, even if Embiid puts up 35 points, 10 rebounds, I mean, he'd need, a handful of assists. He could get there, but I'm going to side with less.
Yeah. We should note here, this from Scores and Odds, that ICE is beautifully repping here. Embiid has posted 16 straight games of 30 and 10. It's the longest streak in the NBA since Kareem did it for 16 straight. So if he does it again tonight, he will then break the all-time record, I believe, or at least since Kareem did it, of 30 and 10 games. So basically, he is a lock for 30 and 10. It seems he knows this. He wants this. So he is getting 30 and 10. The question is, where would that other 10 and a half come from, I guess? Maybe he goes 36 and 15, and there you go. Let's see what else we got. Less than a minute until lock it. There, yep, there it is. Oh, okay. So so it's a whole bunch of Wilt. That makes sense. It's a whole bunch of Wilt and then Kareem, and then you would get your name up there. So we'll see. What else do we got? Just about to hit lock here. PBev, this is DK. We'll call it cash. PBev or Grayson Allen?
It's Grayson Allen on DK.
Okay. MPJ or Monk in a DK GPP, Chief?
Monk for me.
Okay. Fanduel cash question, right back to you, Ice. Lyles, Durant, Beal, or Aaron Gordon, Sabonis, and Allen?
First one.
Okay, great. Seeing that Murray is available, according to Brandon in the chat, so nothing changes, essentially.
And of course,
Lyles is
right.
What's that? Go ahead, Chief.
And of course, it's right at 7:30. By the way,
just late enough where you can't make any changes. But if you're late swapping, it does boost. No changes. We had it projected with him in, so no changes.
That's what I thought. Any Powell on FanDuel? Chief, did
Yeah.
you get to any Powell?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. He likes it. We got a 3v3 in Fanduel Cash Ice, Harden, Batum, Joker, or P-Bev, Pandemic P, and Embiid.
Lean the second one slightly there.
Okay, DKGPP, Chief, Metu and Herder, or Watson Westbrook?
Give me Watson Westbrook.
Very good. And with that, we have caught up on the QQs. I don't know. Steve, producer Steve, said he'd got to get the outro ready. Steve, do we succeed in that outro, or do I need to buy some time? He says, no, buy time. Hey, that's fine. Keep getting some QQs in. What time is this game? Do we have the good game that starts like right now?
Yes.
Yeah. The Jokic one, yeah, it starts.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And it's on national TV, right?
It is, yep.
Yep.
What more do we have to do tonight than watch the TNT, watch two of the best players in the game, two of the best big men in a long, long time going at it? Sounds pretty fun to me.
Well, Roth, I'll go over my props for tonight, at least the ones you can still get in. Some of these you may not be able to get. So if you can't, I've got Chet Holmgren at 7.5 rebounds. Listen, I take Chet under every slate. Does not matter. If he burns me the first slate, I'll get the next 3.
Did you say you take his unders?
Yep, his under rebounds every slate without fail.
Okay.
I don't even think about it. Just press the button. Devin Booker's at 7.5 assists. Little juiced. I mean, this morning was around minus 150. I'm not sure where it is right now. So I'm giving you stuff I got this morning, but less than that. I've got James Harden at 5.5 rebounds. I took less than that. Jokic has already started. Kawhi, I got Kawhi at 7.5 rebounds. I took less than that as well.
What do we have, Russ? What do we have, Russ Westbrook? What's his total for rebounds right now? His problem.
It was 5.5 last I checked.
Give me the over. If he's getting 30 minutes, if he's going to get the minutes, give me the over. What do we have his minutes projected at?
24, I believe, is what we have projected. Like he's been playing 17, 18
so
without
Zubac. Is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean he saw the spike. It's hard to project that again. We've only seen one game without Zubac, so he could play 30. He could play his usual 18.
Right.
So 24 is kind of the median projection there.
Okay, and then basically his rebounds prop is like, do you think he's going to get 30 minutes? Because if so, he'll get there.
He'll go over, right?
Or is he only going to get 15 minutes and then he's probably not? Okay.
Yep.
Last couple, I got these from the Pick'em tool. Devin Booker at 2.5 3-pointers made. I took less than that, and then Kevin Durant at 2.5 took less than that as well. Those two were just kind of popping, and it's probably because of the size of the slate. Nurkic at 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. Took less than that as well. Those were kind of popping today on the tool. And so whenever things start kind of popping, I do take a look at it and try to get those in because, while I understand a lot of things, the tool can be smarter than us in ways that we don't know. So sometimes I just plug them in, and today was one of those days.
Sure. Okay. We'll knock out like this last question or two, and then we'll bounce out of here. Derek says, is Lyles still playable? Ice?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about how uncomfortable all the value is, that there's nothing saying that he can't outscore guys like Patrick Beverley. Totally fine.
And then final question, Chief, Lyles or Metu on FanDuel?
I'm going to side with Squirrel here. Give me Metu for all the money.
Okay, I like it. I've got him in my build, so I approve. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bounce on out of here. Thanks for hanging with us on a late slate here. So for Chief, for Ice, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.